Hello, my name is Emma, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my spoiler-free review of How to Make a Wish by Ashley Herring Blake. As a disclaimer, this video is being sponsored by HMH Teen as a part of their Summer of Love campaign, so firstly, thank you so much to HMH Teen for sponsoring this review, but of course, you guys know that all opinions are going to be my own. Now, the Summer of Love campaign is HMH Teen's effort to share some of the epic love stories they have come out with these past couple months, so you can read them this summer, and your summer will be full of love. So HMH Teen is also kindly sponsoring a giveaway for you guys where you can win all 4 books that are going to be involved in the Summer of Love campaign. So these are the 4 books that I'm going to be reviewing across the summer as a part of their campaign. I have already posted my review of Definitions of Indefinable Things, which if you'd like to check out, that is linked below. But today I'm going to be reviewing How to Make a Wish, and if you'd like to find out any more information about the rest of these books, you can check out the link to the Summer of Love website down below. But these are also the 4 books that they are going to be giving away at the end of the summer, so if you would like to enter the giveaway for one winner to win all 4 of these Summer of Love books, the link to that Rafflecopter giveaway will be in the description, and I will be announcing the winner at the end of the campaign during this August. But How to Make a Wish is an own voices novel about a bisexual main character. So our protagonist's name is Grace, and she's involved in this sort of unorthodox relationship with her mother that is very toxic and very unhealthy, but it is the only thing that Grace has ever known, so she's unaware of how harmful it really is to her. Now, at the beginning of the summer, a girl named Eva moves in with Grace's best friend named Luca, and Grace and Eva are just immediately drawn to each other. Grace finds out that Eva is a lesbian, and as a result of them both liking girls and both liking each other, they engage in this relationship across this summer. Now, while everything seems to be going really great for Grace and Eva, Maggie, who is Grace's mother, has been causing a lot more problems of recently, and it forces Grace to see the consequences of her current situation and maybe make some difficult decisions for herself. I gave How to Make a Wish 5 out of 5 stars. It honestly took me by surprise with how much I loved this book because it was just like so fantastic. Firstly, one of my favorite things about this book is that it follows a main character with an alcoholic parent. The relationship between Grace and Maggie is so unique and unlike anything that has ever been touched in YA, but it also was extremely realistic. I myself have grown up in a household with addicts, so I totally understand Grace's worrying, her extra responsibility, and I could just really empathize with her situation. Like I said, Grace doesn't really see how unhealthy her relationship is with her mother because she loves her so much. Like, it's her mother, how could she not love her? So she's constantly put in situations and sometimes puts herself in situations that are more dangerous as a result of her mother's alcoholism. I don't have the same exact experiences as Grace, but I will definitely say this is a very accurate portrayal of what can come from a child living with an alcoholic parent, and because this is something that so many people deal with and a lot of people can relate to, I'm just so happy with the execution of it in this novel. I also was really satisfied with the fact that although Grace is kind of blind to Maggie's toxic habits, the other people in Grace's life really do their best to condemn her actions and make it known that this is not okay, even if Grace doesn't want to hear it. Grace's best friend Luca and his mother Emmy are definitely cautious of not being too harsh when it comes to the topic of Maggie towards Grace, but they are sources of insight and wisdom that combat these unhealthy acts, and I thought that was really crucial to the story. The portrayal of an alcoholic parent in this book was just like A+, so good. I couldn't have asked for anything more. I also felt that all of the characters in this book are so well written. They all have different layers, they're really fleshed out, they have good traits and flaws, and I was just super impressed by the depth of each and every one of these characters. Grace is such a fantastic main character. I really love her, and I loved the complexity of her character being this teenager who is still a child but having to be the adult in the household. It's sad because she is such a great person, and I wanted so much more for her in her life that now she's able to achieve as a result of this book, but she's been through so much hardship that she just tries to rationalize as normal, and it's pretty sad when you think of it that way, but she is a fighter, she is a strong character, and I loved her so much. I just really loved her character development of finally seeing how toxic her mother's alcoholism is to her and finding out what is best for her in her life and taking the action she needs to achieve that. Eva is a very lovable character as well, and in the beginning of the book, I have to say I was so afraid that she was going to be a manic pixie dream girl. When we're first exposed to her, she's eating sand-covered peanut butter, and she randomly appears in Grace's bedroom like one night after they've met, and I'm like, oh god, not another Margot Roth Spiegelman. But I'm so glad that as soon as we were really exposed to her personality and her own troubles and whatnot, we really get to see like how down to earth she is. I really loved all of the passages where Eva starts to open up to Grace about personal things in her life, whether that be her being biracial, about never really knowing her father, about recently losing her mother and all of her obstacles when it comes to her dancing. Eva is a very well-rounded character. You know, she has her really great points, but she's also not perfect to the point of it being unrealistic, and there will be points in the story where I feel a lot of people will be like, Eva, what are you doing? So I like the fact that she is really grounded and brought to earth and just an all-around really great character. Luca, I have to say, is one of my favorite characters in this book. Being Grace's best friend, he is super supportive, caring, nurturing, and just an all-around really great friend. Grace and Luca's relationship really reminds me of my own with my best friend Michael Booklion, and it was really nice to see that because for some reason I feel like I can't often identify with a lot of the opposite sex friendships that I do see in YA, so it was so nice to see something that was like so close to my own personal experience. I particularly liked how Grace and Luca don't always see eye to eye, and there is a significant point in this book where they are kind of awkward with each other and things are a little bit tougher to adjust to after they have just recently argued about Maggie. It was just really nice to see a platonic, completely platonic relationship between a guy and a girl that worked well together, that they were best friends and really enjoyed their time with each other, but they could also have disagreements and piece themselves back together after that. Like I said, this book definitely has a big focus on sexuality as we have a bisexual main character and a lesbian love interest, and while I personally cannot speak for how accurate the representation is, I've only heard good things from my friends who do identify with certain characters in this book, and I was overall pleased with the execution of it. I liked the fact that both Eva and Grace were comfortable in their sexuality. You know, Grace hasn't fully come out to her mother yet, but she knows who she is and she is confident in her identity, and that's always really refreshing to read. One of my favorite passages is when Grace is talking about the fact that she's always been attracted to both men and women, but it took her a while to realize she was seeing women in the same way that people, I guess, had expected her to only see men, which I've come to understand in my own experience is something that a lot of bisexual individuals go through, and I was just really happy they included that scene because it seemed to be really illuminating. I also like the fact that between both of our main characters, we have one who is very experienced and has had sex and has had sexual relationships, and we have another who has only had their first kiss within the pages of this book and isn't very experienced. If you're going to read How to Make a Wish, or if you have read it, one of my favorite parts is actually on page 231, where Grace and Eva are talking about the fact that Grace feels that Eva is the most important person that has ever been to her, more important than any guy she's ever been with, and Eva replies with, "Why? Because I'm a girl?" And we follow Grace's thought process of saying it's not because Eva is a girl, because she has felt similar things to men that she has been with and she's really enjoyed being with men in the past, but it's because it is Eva as a person, as an individual, and that's what matters to her. It was so beautiful. There's so many great parts of this book. I also love the fact that this book talks about female masturbation and women having sex with other women. I don't think that sex is necessary to include in every single book about YA ever, because it's not something that all teenagers engage in, but it is something that some teenagers engage in, and books are a great way for people to learn about the other sexual experiences of different people. I really like the fact that especially in books about women who love women, it normalizes female sex. It says girls get aroused and girls like having sexual partners, and that is fine, which in society, it's not something that's often talked about. So I think it just goes for like really normalizing the idea of this and being very progressive. So I just love, love, love when a book can include that. Also in this book, if I'm correct, there's like little to no homophobia or biphobia. Even in scenes where I was expecting things to be a little bit homophobic, they weren't, and I just felt it came across in a very accepting, respectful, sensitive way. I don't feel like there was a lot of negativity on these characters based off of their sexuality, which is always a pleasure to read. While I do love it when books challenge prejudice and say like these sorts of things that people do say in real life isn't okay, I love it when it is just like 100% positive, healthy rep as well. There are so many more things that I did want to talk about nearing the end of the book, but because this is a spoiler-free review, I'm going to refrain from it. I will say, although I have been talking mostly about all of the positive and happy and really wonderful things about this book, it does get very dark. There are a lot of very intense, heartbreaking scenes that deal with super emotional content matter. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there are scenes that are just like, wow, I cannot believe this happened. I am going crazy in my mind. Like, things need to move on from here because this is insane. So this book definitely made me laugh, but it did make me cry, and it really just left an emotional impact on my heart, which I really loved. So that is really it for my review of How to Make a Wish by Ashley Herring Blake. I loved this book so much. I am so happy that I loved it more than I could have originally anticipated, and I would highly recommend it to literally everyone. It's a cute summer contemporary that does deal with some dark, intense subject matter, and I think it has a perfect balance between the two, so I would really recommend recommend it to you guys. If you have read How to Make a Wish, definitely let me know your thoughts in the description below, or if you are interested in picking it up after this review, I'd really love to know because I want more people to read it. Of course, do not forget to enter HMH Teen's giveaway for the Summer of Love books, and stay tuned for 2 more reviews that I will be posting throughout the summer based off of this campaign. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new video. Bye!